Tell us about your new book, Old Earth.
Thanks, Jessica. Old Earth, and I like to describe it as a geological thriller that spans all time. It's not just set in 3 weeks or 4 weeks. It's set over, well, part of the debate in the book, 4.6 billion years, or as some people think, 7 to 10,000 years. But it's about all time. And I am on the side of Earth as 4.6 billion years old, hence the title, Old Earth. It's basically a story that begins with the discovery that a scientist makes in 1601 while exploring a cave and testing his invention of the thermometer. The scientist is Galileo. Years before he invented the telescope, he invented the thermometer, little known. And why a cave? Well, there are varying degrees of temperatures in a cave, and he could test it that way. But in the cave, he makes a startling discovery that ultimately becomes the reason that he's brought before the Inquisition, and it's what points him to the stars. Flash forward to today, paleontologists exploring in Montana in Dinosaur Alley make the exact same discovery. And what is it that they find, that Galileo find, that it was brought on trial for, that is so earth-shattering? And their investigation takes them around the globe, and ultimately to the cave where Galileo was in 1601.
Oh, wow.
It's globe-trotting and hopefully mind-bending with a lot of Earth history and some great characters.
How much research did you have to do for this?
It was like a postgraduate course for me in terms of research. Certainly Earth sciences, Galileo as well, philosophy, religion. Much of it takes place, or some of it, in the Vatican, as well as in the Oxford Library. So I had places that I had to visit or do some deep research on, and I loved it. But of all that research, you know, things start with a nugget, and for me, it was when I was a kid in upstate New York, in a town not far from New York City, Hudson.
What's it called? Oh, Hudson. I love Hudson.
Hudson, 2.5 hours away. I grew up there, and as a kid, I would scrape the limestone rocks and carve out the fossils. So I've always been interested in fossils and Earth history, and I grew up with a series of books called landmark books, and they whetted my appetite in terms of science and history and all about books. So flash forward to just about a year and a half ago when I thought, okay, I want to write a new book. Let me start where I began as a kid, with fossils. And I got a little ways in and I realized I needed another hook, and I looked back into history, and Galileo popped out to me, and Galileo is the through line. So it's been, you know, it's all of my life rolled together, not me as any of the characters in the book. I'm not as courageous or heroic or as handsome as Quinn Macaulay is, my paleontologist, but it does reflect a lot of where I came from.
Oh, nice.
And it's unlike my other books, which are political thrillers, Executive Actions, Executive Treason, and Executive Command. They're political thrillers. This is a standalone. There could be a sequel, but it was really fun to write, and different muscles to flex.
Right. Now, do you think you'll write more science-based books now that you've written this?
Well, I did enjoy it a lot, and I think there are other areas that I could explore with these characters, certainly. But I will return back to the political thriller realm, because the characters that I had in my first 3 books are really knocking on my door to say we've got more to tell. And my publisher, Diversion Books, says let's get some more in that realm, and maybe even do some serialized work, which is based on some of the characters from the Executive series.
Oh, okay.
It's so interesting when, and it's like a Twilight Zone episode. You think that you're writing the book. No, the characters take over. They say, move over, Gary, sit down, and take dictation.
I think that's probably when it really flows as a writer.
Well, it is, and it's the magic of it. It'll click in with bad guys. It'll click in with women characters who say, you're not writing me right. do some more research, have some conversations. It'll click with military characters, and it makes me, the characters drive me to get more research done. And that's a thrilling part of the whole thing.
Yeah. And now, I know you also work in the world of film.
Right. Mm-hmm.
How do you schedule time to write?
Great question. My goal is when I'm beginning a process and beginning the writing, is to do 3 to 5 pages a day.
Oh, okay.
And if I can do that, I was pretty good in math in high school. But basic math is 3 pages a day over a month is 90 pages. Over 2 months, it's 180 pages. Over 3 months, 270. In 4 or 5 months, I can have a first draft. Might not be a great first draft, but I'll have a first draft of the book, and then it'll take me as long to rewrite over that same period of time. So that's my goal, and I can do that at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, and or any time I can start and stop. My experience too in print journalism allowed me to, working for a newspaper, if I had an interruption, I could get right back into the story at that whatever moment that I needed to. So I don't have to be writing it full time. There are many wonderful writers here who are writing full time, but my work in television and film is really my day job. So this is the extra side.
Oh, very cool. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks so much for speaking with us.
Thank you very much, Jessica. Great to be back. Thank you. And I hope you enjoy Old Earth.
Yeah.